again for some quick triathlon tips from me, Ryan, SetsBasedTriathlon.com. Also, the Plan Man, making plans for any triathlon you ever wanted, or any race you're doing. Just let me know if I can help you with that. But we're going to dive into today talking about racing FTP. I get a lot of questions from athletes. What should I target for my FTP? I'm training with power, and what should I, target for my percentage of FTP that I should hold during the race? Should I hit threshold the entire race? Should I max out to a certain percentage point? Should I shoot way low so I'm not wasting all my energy in the bike ride or everything? So we're going to go over these tips really quick. We're going to fire through them. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments of either Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're seeing this video. Ask the questions. I'll get back. See those questions. I'll get back to you with an answer, hopefully. So we're going to dive right into it. Number one, an optimal bike ride allows for a strong run. That is my philosophy for coaching and making plans, is making sure that you are not overreaching to complete the bike portion or overshooting your fitness when you're doing the bike portion. So when you come to the run, you're completely wasted. You're low in energy and you just have no place to kind of go from there, and you're just at the bottom of the bucket. So I want my athletes and anybody using my plans to be able to come off the bike in a position where they've got energy that they can manage the rest of that race with, because the race doesn't end at the end of the bike ride. Because if it does end for you at the end of the bike ride, then you're probably looking at the DNF. So optimize the bike ride to allow for a strong run. Generally, that optimal range is 75% to 85% of FTP for 7.3 triathlon and 65 to 70% for 144.6. So notice, the longer the distance, the lower that target is going to be for your FTP. And the optimal range, what we're talking about, is you're using 75% of FTP. But what I like to use is Normalized Power because it takes out some of the drops, takes out some of the spikes. If your power meter is reading some wacky stuff for a minute, it'll kind of smooth all that out. So I had that on my bike computer while I'm doing my race to just have percent of FTP, what we're doing, but I'm also looking at the average normalized power to make sure that I'm kind of staying within that range. And it's not, because if you look at your data, you're going to have your average power and normalized power. They're going to be different, and sometimes they could be substantially different. So make sure that you're going by, if you pick one, if you pick the other one, if you don't agree with me using normalized power and you want to use just percent FTP and percent average power or whatever, that's great. Make sure you do it from training to race day and be consistent about it. Keep in mind, riding the flats versus hills may cause some challenges. So flats, usually you could kind of stick to a percentage of that FTP and just kind of ride it off in the sunset. But keep in mind, if there's a headwind, you're going to change things a little bit. So it's going to take a little bit more effort to keep up to that FTP, but your pace may suffer. Conversely, if you're going up a hill, it's going to take a lot more effort. You're going to go a lot slower than going downhill. Downhill, you may coast and just use it as a recovery option. So keep in mind, you're going to have to manage the race. They're not all flat races. Even Ironman Florida has some elevation gain and some mild inclines and stuff that you kind of have to manage. You can't just go out there and just nail that percent FTP no matter what the terrain is. I'm going to hit 75% of my 200 watts FTP, and that's what I'm going to stick it at the entire time, no matter what, if I have to suffer for it or not. When you're going up the hill, probably not a wise idea to try to keep that FTP. When you're going into the wind, maybe that's a time to really look at that FTP and decide, well, maybe I get more bang for my buck going a little bit higher, kind of overcoming the wind resistance a little bit, and back it up when I've got a tailwind. I'm not killing myself to get that FTP because it's a lot easier to do a pedal stroke when you got a tailwind. So consider that riding flats, hills, all that kind of stuff, and terrain, kind of going to change your target just a little bit. It's in the micro of the race as a whole of what you're doing at different points in time. These ranges should be tested and verified in training. As I mentioned before, as I mentioned in all my videos, don't go out on race day with this plan if you haven't practiced it in training, because then if you don't understand it, or you get confused, or you get off track, you get flustered in a race, and you don't want that experience during the race. You'd rather have it during training so you know what to expect during the race. Keep in mind that the climate will change the range as well. So if it's 90 degrees out there, you're mile 70 of the bike ride, your body, your energy level, your hydration, everything is going to weigh down on that FTP percentage, and you're going to want to dial it back because you're not going to be optimal when you're coming off that bike for the run. So keep that in mind too. Terrain changes it, and the climate will change it. Where are we at? Number 6, power is more reliable indicator for bike effort, but don't dismiss heart rate. It is a good indicator that if you're hitting your power and you're able to hit it, but if you're watching your heart rate and it's slowly creeping up over time, it may be kind of indicators like, okay, I need to go from 75% to 65% because my heart rate is going up. I've got creep going over this 112 miles, 56 miles even, and I don't think I'm going to have enough reserve to make it through the run in a comfortable fashion and be able to really go after that run and be strong on the run. So I'm going to dial it down a little bit. So don't totally dismiss heart rate. It is useful, but it's kind of a lagging indicator. Power is instantaneous. Heart rate kind of shows you a bigger picture over time. So keep that in mind. Number 7, make sure you're training like you'll race. Like I said, whatever your plan is, whatever your strategy is, if it's hot out there in training and it's highly hot on race day, hopefully you're practicing that. It's going to be cool. What are you going to do to keep your body core temperature up? If that does make an effect too on you, if you're training in 75, 80 degrees and on race day it's like 45 or 60 degrees or something like that, a little bit chilly, that discomfort is going to play into things as well. So make sure that you're training and you're practicing for all these different scenarios and circumstances and you're ready for race day. Number 8, these are not set in stone. So don't just stick it at 75% and be like, hell or high water, that's what I'm going to be shooting for. If it's 67%, hey, mission accomplished. If it's 55%, maybe you went a little bit too easy out there. If it was 95%, that run's going to be a little bit painful. But, these are just kind of recommendations that I've had working with my athletes in the training plans, seeing them through the races and kind of what they ended up with as far as metrics and everything. So this is my recommendation, short, sweet, to the point, very quick. Quick Facebook tips, quick YouTube tips, wherever you're watching us get your information from. Hopefully this helped you out. If it did, give you a thumbs up. If it didn't, you can't leave me a thumbs down. At least put a comment like, why do you think that maybe I should add information, maybe I forgot something, maybe I omitted something, maybe I misspoke or something like that. That never happens. I always speak the truth. But just in case, put a comment there. Let me know how I can help you out in the future. Give it a like on Facebook, hit a subscribe on YouTube, hit the notification button, and get future videos on tips and race-specific content. So hopefully I helped you out. All right, follow me right there, SethBasedTriathlon.com. See you in the next video.